name's Ernesto, and I'm here to present Trotter. Our mission is to help people find long-term apartments, and it has been mostly inspired by our own experience of the team, which is right there. When moving to the US for the first time, it was really hard for us to look for long-term apartments because we didn't have a social security number, we had no credit history, so what we're seeing in the market of listings of things that we could rent was actually a fallacy. We couldn't rent everything that was out there because there were limitations because of our circumstances of what is actually available. So, and it's also a very overwhelming search when you have to do it at a distance because you don't know the neighborhoods and you don't know the market well. And a good example of how to illustrate that, you know, the level of jarring, how it is to do this is just look at a search from Zillow into Phoenix and Zoopla in Manchester in the United Kingdom. And you see, I'm looking for a one-bedroom between a certain range of price. The amount of units that come up are just incredibly high. So where do you start after that? Like, what does it mean to live here versus living here? This is really not answering the question for me of not only where should I go to, but which one of these units is actually going to take me because of my circumstances. So all the big players are doing that. They're all trying to solve this issue by throwing more data to the problem and saying, the more inventory we collect, the more filters we apply, you know, we're going to solve this problem. But actually, the experience is not improving of what it was, you know, 15, 20 years ago. Maybe a little bit, but not too much, especially for people that don't know their way around the city. And they all have what we call it's the equivalent to the blue screen of death, but for this type of website, which is the verify availability wall. So once you get to this stage where you have this forms, the next step is very, very convoluted. It's just starting to reach out to the listing owner, which can be a realtor, a management building officer, or a landlord if you're renting by owner, and just going through the process and repeat multiple times. Is this still available? Do you take me? Do you take pets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And doing that multiple times is what really takes people about 40 or more hours to solve this problem of finding a long-term rental. And it's still a problem that the listings websites haven't been able to solve. So we came and said, okay, so there's an opportunity there. Why don't we act as a buffer and we ask our clients, our customers, the renters, hey, we can reduce the time you spend doing this if you just tell us what you need, and we'll go out there to the market of listing owners and ask them, listen, we have this person with these characteristics, they like this type of building, do you have something for them? And then we present the renter with an option of choices, a list of options that are actually useful for them. And what we quickly realized is that that was not very scalable. Even though it solved the problem and some people, customers were very happy, some people would like to iterate around this 20 times, others 5 times, others 40 times. So it was really hard to predict in this two-sided market the cost to serve, and therefore how do you scale this across the globe. And what really happened is that, you know, outsourcing your apartment search to another brain is hard because you think there's a lot of choice, but there really isn't, because there's a lot of people looking for it and their circumstances that are individual to each search. But people still want to browse for listings. The thing is, they want to know which options are accessible for them in particular, ideally. So having your own Zillow that is for you and only you, right? So we came up with this idea, which is kind of flipping the incentives and the activities to the other side and say, what if we could broadcast to the entire market of listing owners? So realtors, management office buildings, and owners of landlords. We have this person that is looking for a place with these characteristics, and this person has a max budget, they don't want to pay a fee, they have a dog, they move in March 1st, that's their income, that's their credit, and a lot of things, whatever, there's a few dimensions that might border around 20. And let's just broadcast this to the market and let the market respond to you, hey, I already pre-qualified this person because I'm looking at the profile, and I'm just gonna tell you some options for you. So the Trotter activity becomes, how do we curate that inbound traffic into our customer to try to provide an experience in which this person doesn't have to spend 40 hours, 50 hours after several weeks trying to solve this problem. And this is what we're developing now, and we're gonna try to test in the next few months in a beta. So this is our hypothesis, this is our question. If you could broadcast your apartment search needs with enough detail, can the entire market of listings owners reply with a relevant need for you? Thank you. I'm done. So I know we're into Q&A, but the first question actually is one I wanted to ask to you. If you can use our Twitter handle to answer it, that would be great. I would greatly appreciate it. Do you think such a model would command a willingness to pay for renters during this apartment search, in which you are using a platform that allows you to put all this out there and broadcast it, and then wait for options to come to you? That's it. Thank you. Yes, over here.
So to answer that question, people would be willing to pay, say, $20. Is there a guarantee they get anything in return for that $20? Because that would change the outcome of that question, I would assume.
Okay, the question is is there a guarantee they'll get what they want?
Or their money back?
Yeah, well, I mean, in America, at least where I come from, it's not the case. In America, everything has a money back guarantee. I think that's pretty much an established fact. And we're happy to have one. I guess the question is, what's your value proposition, and are you promising that you're gonna find the house of your dreams? That is a very hard promise to make. So I don't think we can do that, but what we can guarantee is that you will be able to use a platform that sends you verified leads that conform to what your needs are and that are available and you're pre-qualified for, and that you can actually have a shot at getting. So that's a guarantee that we can make.
What's your turnaround time? So, I go in, I want to rent, I fill out all this information. How soon do I hear back from you? And, generally, how many leads do you give me?
Yes. So you hear back from us in about 24 to 48 hours, and ideally earlier than that. And we have an assessment call at first that then we're automating. And it takes us about another 24 hours to generate verified listings for you. And then it takes about a week for you to do that iteration process that gets you a place. And if you need video tours, we send them off. We charge you for that. If you're not here in the city because you're in South America or in Europe and you're moving, we can do that for you as well, and we charge for that. And the average revenue per user in that sense is about $200. It gives you access to the platform. It's like hiring a tasker to do that for you, right?
Do you pre-screen the renters?
Do we pre-screen the renters? Under the current model, we assess them. So in a way, yes, we don't run a credit check on them necessarily. We don't do that yet. But we do, the assessment is to an extent that allows us to, when we try to qualify listings for them, it involves conveying all this information to the person or the building or the owner that has the listings on the other side.
How do you evaluate credit for people from foreign countries? Or in the other case, if the apartment's in a foreign country, how do you evaluate someone else's credit?
That's a great question, because obviously it's something that we live through when we move to the US. So people have bank accounts, they have their credit bureaus in other parts of the world. It's just you need to have the ability to interpret that credit data. It varies country to country, which makes it really hard to automate and scrape. But if you focus on the 10, 15 key countries and you're covering 80% of the demand, and you can ask them, what is the type of data I need from you, from your home country organizations, institutions, I'm just going to grab that and analyze that.
Why would apartment owners want to participate? Today, they sit tight and they get a ton of offers from realtors and from
yes.
people looking at why now if they need to do work to qualify funds, why would they do it?
That's actually a great question. It's why do owners of apartments would like to participate in this two-sided market, right? So the first thing that you've noticed is that, or that I will say now, is we don't charge that side of the network. So we don't charge the owners or the managed buildings because we want them to participate. So all they're doing all day is getting a lot of inbound leads, but we think that we can add enough value to our leads, and we can build such a frictionless experience for them that they can just bid for a lead very easily, and in a lead that has enough information tied to it that it's valuable in its own. Because it's just not the call, hey, someone needs an apartment. No. Someone with this characteristic needs an apartment. Do you have something that would serve this person? And would you take a person with such characteristics? That's what we think there's value enough for people to use it. Yes?
How do you prevent who want to rent something from scam, how can you prove that people who will be reaching out to me saying, I have this place that matches your criteria, how do you prevent them from being just scammers who will just keep attacking with emails or?
Yeah. So that's part of the value. The question is whether how do we prevent scammers from on this side of the network? And the answer is part of the value we add and would allow us to charge any money for this is precisely our ability to just let people that we trust enter to the site and bid. So for example, Century 21 or Coldwell Banker or people that we know or a mechanism to rate them after many tries. But we wouldn't let in people to broadcast, to propose bids on this side to the renters if they don't have some sort of validation, because precisely there's value in having people that don't offer scams, right? So that's a lot of the value that we're trying to build into the system. I think we're done, but thanks a lot for listening. Appreciate it.